Welcome to Snail Trail 4x4. Today I'm here with Aidan Klimenko, and he's brought his sweet 78 Series Landcruiser that was a Troopy and is now a crazy off-roading camper rig, and I want to show you guys around it. Crazy things happened on social media where a friend of mine, as most of you guys know, I'm good friends with the van life people and van of my dreams. They reached out to me and they told me that Aidan needed or wanted a little bit of help on his rig, and he was passing through the area, driving down from Oregon, heading down to Baja. And I happen to have a solution to his needs. We can talk about that in a little bit, but I wanted to show you around this sweet 78 Series Landcruiser that is originally from where?
From Switzerland. I picked this up not too long ago, actually, I guess about a month ago now, from an older Swiss couple who had been traveling around the world in this thing. They had it built, I think 7 years ago, and have done Africa, Australia, South America, and all the way up to the Arctic Ocean in it. So it's seen the world, which is pretty sweet.
So for the most part, it was a Troopy, right? That's what you're telling me. So tell us how the process of this went.
From what I understand, the people I bought this from were extremely nice, but spoke very broken English. I did Google Translate their very extensive blog that they wrote during their whole 7 years of traveling, and from what I gather, piecing these two things together is they bought this brand new and did Africa in it once.
Well, good point. What year is it?
It's a 2002.
2002.
So they bought it brand new in 2002 and did Africa in it, came back, chopped the top off and made it into a pop top, did Africa again with it, and then came back and then chopped it behind the front seats and had this camper built and did their world tour, which included Africa again.
No, this thing's cool. So it's relatively new to you, so we don't know all the fine super details of these things. They're not a normal thing for us to see here in the States, which is one of the reasons I wanted to show it to you guys. One of the really cool things about this is it's got a 4.2 liter naturally aspirated diesel motor underneath the hood.
It drives like a tractor.
It does. It sounds like a tractor. So underneath there, I'm assuming from what you might know, it's just a normal transmission T-case.
Yep.
I mean, we're pretty much just bone stock Landcruiser, I think, underneath on the underside. We got Landcruiser axles. Are you locked? I know you said they aren't currently working.
Yeah.
But is it locked front and rear?
Front and rear. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And we'll probably have to figure out that at another point in time, why it's not working, that is. So here we are on the side of the vehicle. We've got a few really interesting things happening here. One is a door.
Opens kind of like a spaceship door. Pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Little barn style door down here. I've got water, which is pretty sweet. I think that's a 20, I believe a 20-gallon tank.
Oh, wow.
80 liters, which I think I looked up, and it's 20 gallons.
Is there do you have a hot water tank and a cold water tank, or just water?
Just water. And I feel like if two 60-year-olds were able to live with cold water for 7 years, then
you can do it.
And I can do it too.
There you go. We got a Landcruiser snorkel, or at least it says Landcruiser on the side. I don't know. Is this? Do you know if it's factory stuff? Yep. Wow. Okay. Cool. That's really neat. Yeah. And then this is the gas tank filler. For the front. For the front tank. This does have two tanks. There's a front tank and then a filler right here for a rear tank, which is giant. I believe it's 180 liters of auxiliary fuel. Again, they built this for Africa, and with the mentality that they might not be able to find diesel, or it may be low quality diesel, or they're crossing the Sahara or whatever you do in Africa. I don't know. I haven't been, but you said roughly about how many miles you could possibly go.
I'm not sure yet. I think that it's between 1,000 and 1,500
on
miles.
all the gas in both of these things.
Yep. I just have to do some math.
I thought this was kind of interesting. It has like a padlock.
Yeah. So
for the outside,
they keep. Here on the door, I don't know if you can see that, but here on the door they keep the padlocks just nice and handy, and on the keychain there's keys to both of those. They said that in countries where Landcruisers are sold often, continents either, Africa, South America, Europe, thieves will know that you can pop the lock on these with a magnet, a strong magnet in the right place.
Before we jump to the back, I wanted to tell you about these.
These are, oh, you go ahead.
Well, you've used them as max tracks before to get out of a muddy situation.
Yeah, muddy. You can see that a little dirty. I had to use them the other day in Montana.
But what are they actually, or what did somebody tell you they were?
Oh, right. So I have a relative who was high up in the military and recognized these as World War II landing strips for when planes were landing in remote areas. They would lay this down and use it as, essentially a remote takeoff. Runway.
A runway landing strip. I'm assuming they were really long of some sort, and they could stack them together in a way. But
exactly, they're
how
super
cool
rigid.
Is that? They're super. They're all dimple dyed, which is really neat.
They also use it as a little table. I have some chains inside there that keep it level right there. Without them, it's a little. But with the chains,
go from here to here.
Exactly.
With a little chain.
Yep. It's kind of a funny surface because there's all these holes, though I have found it to be very convenient for doing dishes. I have a little tub in there that I fill up with water, and I can do dishes right here, and the water just kind of falls through. Also,
like a drying rack.
These holes are the exact, or slightly larger. They fit perfectly beer cans. So beer cans fit perfectly.
You could have your 30-pack right
all
up
sorts
here.
Of beers right there, yeah.
But I think it's really cool repurposing opportunity here, a repurposing situation to get some old cool things that have grip and just carry them along. And this is aluminum, so it's not super duper heavy, and it's super grippy, which these dimple dies and things like that. An additional cool feature that I forgot to mention about these cool panels, ramps, rock sliders, max tracks things that we got, table that we got, is that they will slide up and down to cover the window in case of safety or an emergency, or to keep lions out when you're in Africa or something.
Right.
You can just loosen these Allen heads for the most part and slide it up these tracks.
Yep.
And then
somebody
you can block out
could,
the window.
with an Allen wrench, come and adjust it down, but it's for that the opportunity grab, you know.
Quick deterrent.
Yep. Exactly. Here on the back we've got our spare tire, which is the same, identical to the ones that are down there, full sized. And then we also have some cool track system that goes all the way around and on the lower edge here. So if I wanted to add accessories here on the back, I have the option to do that. Though these guys were really meticulous about finding room for everything inside. Shovel. There's two saws. There's all sorts of stuff inside the vehicle. I don't think they really wanted to leave much on the outside again because they were worried about stuff getting stolen.
I know that we spoke a little bit about these tires. They loved these tires. These are the Cooper. Which ones are they? The Cooper Discoveries.
ST Max.
ST Maxes.
Yep.
And they told you what about these tires? Because you wanted some MTs, right?
Yeah, I was like, let's put some beefy mud trains on there. They were nice enough to buy me some new tires before the sale. But they said that they had gone through in their extensive years of overlanding many different tires, and that these were their favorite in terms of ability in the mud, ability on and off road, considering so much of our time is spent on road driving around from mudding place to mudding place, but have more a decent capability off road as well. So I have put maybe 3,000 miles on them so far, and I have no complaints.
They're kind of a hybrid style in a way. I don't know if you've heard that term inside of tires, where it's sort of an all-terrain in the middle, but it's also really aggressive on the outside. It has a good aggressive sidewall. So that's kind of a hybrid in a way between what is mud terrain and what is an all-terrain. I've noticed we have manual locking hubs in the front, so it's kind of reminiscent of the mini trucks in that way. One thing that's interesting about these axles is they're a 5-lug. As somebody out there in the Land Cruiser community, tell me, is that a normal thing? 5 lugs on a Land Cruiser axle? I'm not sure. Here on the front, we got a few accessories and a really big beefy bumper. Is this an ARB? It kind of looks like an ARB.
It is an ARB. They removed the bull bar and put a diamond plate up here. They used to have the bull bar and they used to have a winch up here. Any overlander will know that weight is always the enemy and they found that they were not using the winch and didn't feel like they ever needed the bull bar. Okay. So they got rid of those for the sake of weight conservation.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that freed up an area for the high lift jack here.
Right.
And then down in here, I have a set of old springs, original Old Man Emu with their OG logo, so you know they're old.
Yeah,
it's a front and rear in case I lose one out on the trail.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're still good. Do you know if they're still
good?
I
have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine they're better than an exploded.
You're right. Yeah, definitely. And then we have some additional lighting here on the front. Yep. Just some 4x4 or 2x2s.
These ones I keep on as running lights all the time. Okay. And then these ones here are attached to my high beams. So as soon as I turn my high beams on, these fire up.
Blast.
Yeah.
So no high beams up in this area?
High beams up in there.
Also?
Yeah.
So you just blast the people in front of you.
You know, I feel like yes, right now, yes. But I do want to put them on a switch so that in case, I think there's legality with running. I'm not sure.
I don't think you're allowed to run these at all. And I think technically you have to have them covered by law.
Sick.
One thing I noticed in a few spots on this rig, there are these little tiny Africa symbols in a few hidden gem locations. Which is kind of fun, and it's kind of interesting to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that these blinkers kind of pop out, I think, are fun. Yeah. It's just different. Something we don't see. It's so cool.
Yep. Yep.
One of the cool things that makes this a very utilitarian vehicle is the fact that they made it so the roof can pop up. Let's go inside and check it out.
Alright, so here is our entrance. You can see that there is some cool bug netting up there to keep, the pesky skeeters out. We have the 2-burner stove right down here, which is kind of nice. And then moving up into here, we have a Natural Luna fridge freezer, which works pretty well. They did a really nice job with the cabinets. They all have these pretty sweet heavy-duty latches. And they're all built with a lot of utility, like cool little felted drawers and cabinet tree, I guess, all around to make sure that things aren't shaking, when I'm on dirt roads or stuff like that. I have been really surprised in this vehicle that I'll be on washboard roads and I don't hear any rattling back here. Which is pretty sweet. We've got a cool little bookshelf, which is one of my favorite things. In my last vehicle, an old VW Synchro, I had these books and they would fly around. I'd organize them every time that I would go driving. They'd fly around, and it's kind of nice having this here. Right now, the vehicle is set up in bed mode. This is my giant bed. I only say that because I'm being a little sarcastic. I have to sleep diagonally to fit in here. I'm 6'2". It was built for a shorter Swiss couple, but really nice cabinetry back there, so I keep my clothes, camera equipment, stuff like that, jackets. So the bed is set up so that in the middle is a table, and that comes up. And then we have 2 benches on either side, seats 4 people very comfortably. And then underneath that is a huge amount of storage. Keep all my camping equipment, film, developing chemicals, all sorts of just stuff. We have a cool little hatch up here, which is nice when the top is down and I'm sleeping in here. I can open that up in the morning and kind of stick my head out and see what's going on outside. The roof does support my weight, so I can crawl through that very easily and hang out on the roof, which is pretty sweet. Clean off the solar panels, just, if I have stuff strapped up there and whatnot. But also just lets in some nice light. And you can see that the sides here zip open, and so I get a large amount of light in here, and just cross breeze, which is pretty nice, especially places like here in California where it's warm. Not great for where it's cold. I just came from Montana and spent a lot of time with the top down, which is doable, but it kind of feels like being in a boat. We've got a little bit of a crawl through here. It's not a walk through, it's definitely a crawl through. It was not intended to be used for passage, though they wanted, the owners wanted this in there in case something was happening outside. They could crawl through and drive away in a hurry if need be. And it does also act as a nice, when I have bed mode here, I can put my backpacks, bags, whatever, in those front seats and still access them from within the vehicle. That is a nice thing. I have crawled through here once, and it was not the most graceful thing, but it's doable.
So this is the cab. I like to think of it as the cockpit of an airplane. That's what it reminds me of. It's got this kind of funky metal trim with these gauges here. This one is, the middle one is the only one that functions, I believe, right now. It's the battery voltage. Unfortunately, it's the only one that's light does not work, so I can't tell at night. That's okay because I have a battery monitor right here, / linking system. I can manually link my auxiliary and starting battery. If in the event my starting battery dies, I can link it to my house battery and jump off of that, which is pretty sweet. And I can see how well they're charging and whatnot. We've got some nice Caro seats, which I have to say are awesome. I never would jump for Caro seats just because I feel like that money can be allocated to more important things, but having them is awesome. Up here, we have some really cool headroom, which is kind of, I don't know, I'm a tall person, so sitting in here with this headroom is really nice. Some pretty nice cabinet space. I can fit cameras and all sorts of things. The space goes all the way forward and extends to the front, so it is quite deep. Got a CB radio up here. Got my radio deck up here. They actually even built a little cover for it that fits on perfectly, so that if I did get broken into, they, hopefully wouldn't notice this quite as much. It also helps for at night when it's dark. I don't have this bright blue light kind of right in front of my eyes. So I mentioned that the previous owners didn't want too many accessories on the outside because of theft or potential theft. So they put it all inside here. I have a shovel, an axe, a saw, and my awning poles, all right here, which is pretty sweet, and a large amount of tools for easy access and whatnot, leveling blocks. A lot of stuff fit right behind the seat conveniently, which is pretty cool. One of my favorite parts about the cab are these matching leather bags that they had custom made. I don't remember where. I think they said somewhere in Africa. Handmade leather. They open up, and for a long time I thought they were just kind of cool little pouches, but then I realized that they unbutton on the sides and completely open up. You put pens and stuff in here, and since I'm traveling solo, I haven't really filled this side up because I'm not generally in my passenger seat, but there's a lot of space here. If I were a cowboy, I might roll my long cut tobacco cigarettes right on this thing, as if I were out in the middle of the Wild West. That's at least how I imagine it.
Well, this is a super awesome rig. I really, really thank you for letting us walk around it, check it out. Where can people find you at?
So I have a photography website, which is aidanklimenko.com, AIDANKLIMENKO, kind of mouthful. I also have Instagram, which is just aidan.klimenko.
He's got gorgeous photography on his Instagram account, so I'll put a link to that down below so you can go follow along with him. Follow along with his ventures. You're going to get down to South America. I know he's talking about doing this epic trip. I'm super jealous.
Yep, in the next few months we're shipping down to South America, and put him to the test.
Definitely. So follow along with him down below on the link. Follow along with me on the subscribe button right over there. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, keep crawling.